Hi, Paul here with Diode Dynamics, and today we're installing angel eyes or halos in these Fiat 500 headlights. Now these are a little bit trickier than most because these use a technology called Reseal, which makes them a little difficult to open, but we can still crack them open and get our angel eyes installed. We'll start with our oven preheated to 265. This is much higher than the standard 220, just so we can get a little bit more play to work with the Reseal material that's holding them together. 265, and we'll bake them first of all for about 15 minutes to just loosen things up. As we go, we'll continue to reheat them as we open it up, but this will be a good place to start. Tools we'll need for this project: we have heat-resistant gloves or hot pads and a flathead screwdriver. We'll also need a soft place to work. Here we just have some old carpet along with a towel, just to make sure that we don't scratch anything up, especially the lens of the headlights. You can see we've already got one open here, but here's our next one. And first we're going to inspect the back, make sure there's no screws around the perimeter. For the Fiat 500, we don't have any screws holding it on. Then just remove the dust cap as well as any bulbs in order to expedite the heating process. When you're ready to go, place it on your baking pan and just put it right in the oven. All right, we'll check back when this is all heated up. Okay, we're ready to take the headlight out. We're going to keep the oven on because we will want to reheat, but just go ahead and take the entire pan out. Of course, using your hot pad or gloves, and grab your headlight. When we open this, we'll want to get started right away to keep it hot, but we'll want to go from this side here. You can see how the other side, the lens is actually in a groove. This side is coming in from the top here. So let's go ahead and use our screwdriver and just start to get an opening. We'll start right around up here. So just go right in between the lens and the back and just start to separate it. And just start to wiggle the screwdriver down as you go. And start to separate it. Now this is going to take a lot of work for these headlights, again because they are perma-sealed. But we just want to continue to go all the way around, or about halfway around. And we want to get as much open as possible. The black part will be a little deformed. We're going to form it back up with a hairdryer or heat gun before we reseal them. Once we start pulling it apart with our hands, we can see that it'll just come right out. If you need to, make sure you reheat it as well. Otherwise, just keep pulling around and you'll have the whole headlight apart. So there's our two pieces. Our next step is going to be actually installing the ring. Okay, so now we're taking a look at the back of the headlight here, and to actually install the ring, we're first going to remove the projector assembly out of the back of the headlight. It's just held in by these pressure clips here, so we're just going to lift it off and away from the back and give it a little bit of pressure, but it will just pop right off. Pull straight out. You just want to pull straight on these things and it'll clip out. So there we have the reflector unclipped. Now we're going to line up our angel eye ring. Here we've got some white COBs, and the main thing is we've got to drill a hole for this wire and connector to fit through. Now this is the top of the projector here, and so we'll put the wire through the bottom. You can see it's a perfect fit. This is a kit designed for this vehicle. We're going to want to drill holes right along the edge where the wire will go through, and then the ring itself will cover up those holes. So in this case, we're just going to use a drill with a, I think this is a 3/16 size bit or 3/32 size bit. Just use a bit that'll fit for the wire you're using. And it might be easier to use a Dremel in this case too. We're going to use a drill now since that's a little bit more available. And we just are going to go straight on top. Just very carefully line that up. Okay, now we've got the slot drilled and everything cleaned up. We're going to mount the COB ring in place. First, put your wires through the hole you just made. Just drop it down and push these wires all the way through. And then you should be able to cover up the hole with your ring. Now, to get the ring actually mounted in, we're going to put a little bit of adhesive around the edge. We're going to use this 5-minute epoxy. It's 2 parts, dries in 5 minutes. And it's going to hold it very strong. So we'll mix some of this up, mix the 2 parts together well, and then start adding the epoxy, just a very thin layer all the way around the edge. Again, don't make it too thick, because then it will drip. And we'll put a little bit where the wires are going through, just to make sure that the wires are secured there as well. And then we can set our ring into place carefully. Set it straight down around the edge. Make sure it's evenly set in place and held firmly. Now quickly you can go around and clean up any extra bits of epoxy you see that are dripping around the edge, if you do see any. Now that we have the ring in place, we're going to attach our regulator so we have enough wire to continue. We're just going to clip this in. It only goes in one way. And now we can mount the projector back in place, flip it over to the correct direction. First we're going to run the rest of our wire through here. There's a boot for the ventilation on the back of the headlight itself right here. Just pull straight back, and then you'll be able to run the wires through that small hole there. Pull it all the way through, and then we're going to pull the extra slack through while mounting this in place. Again, just press straight down, and you'll hear it click back in. Make sure you get all three clipped in. Okay, and then just pull the extra slack out the back, making sure that it's not visible on front of the projector. Now before we clean everything up, we're going to remove as much of the extra gray adhesive as possible, just by trying to scoop it out of the edge all the way around. Now we're going to reseal this. Here we're going to use a black silicone adhesive sealant from Permatex. This is available in smaller quantities. Usually you have to special order it though. You can also use butyl, which is used for windshields and things like that. We're just going to put a small line all the way around. Okay, when you have a drop running all the way around, we've already cleaned everything and blown out everything to make sure there's no dust anywhere. But we just want to put the lens directly in place. We'll start with the end with a groove in it, going straight down into that groove. And you just want to make sure it's all lined up properly. Okay, now once you have it all lined up, you want to use a number of locking pliers. This is the best thing to use to hold it securely while it dries. You just want to go around. When we're happy with the seal all the way around the edge, we're just going to let it dry for at least 24 hours.